I got up this morning very paranoid and so very upset. Why is it that we speak of protection and then we don't speak of how we are going to survive during this period that we seek protection? Now, yes, we do not have any problem when they say or when they tell us, stay in the house. People are going to stay in the house. But the question is this: how do they feed right inside the house? There's a part that we should take very serious here. You can't ask me to stay inside my house and when I know I do not have food, and then the only way I can get something that I can eat or my family would eat is when I get my ass out there to look out for what my family and I will eat. Now, how do you tell me to stay in a house and I do not have anything to eat? How do you expect me to be in a house and yet my landlord is on my case, always asking me to pay rent? Now, we say we are protecting lives. How do we best protect lives? When people are leaving their comfort of their homes to go out there to hustle for money so that they can put food on the table and also pay their rent, automatically they are being exposed to the virus. If a good government can provide basic amenities for people, that is when a government should get seriously mad seeing any asshole on the road. I cannot ask you to stay your ass inside your house and you don't have food. Hunger will force you to go out there. And if you go out there, you are having the high chances of contracting that disease. How then do we best protect ourselves from this pandemic? What is happening to the landlord associations? Not everybody is a government worker. Not everybody gets paid every month. Whether you are working or either you're not working. At least if you're a government worker, there's always a salary that goes into your account at the end of the month as your paycheck. But now the question is this: what happens to those people whose business is based on the crowd? And yet one of the disadvantages of corona is no social gathering. Keep distancing. Now, how do we keep this distance from one another when I cannot boldly open my shop to have 10 people come in, as the traffic would always be for me to make sales? My shop would be automatically closed down, and then one landlord is out there asking me to pay his fucking rent every month. Who does that? Why can't we, the government, look into this section of this saga? It is easy. If every landlord takes $50,500 for their rent as their monthly rent, the government should also advise them to cut down their rent to 50%, and 50% in a state that, and with a condition that you do not put any of your tenants under the condition of being durex just because you want them to pay that money. It is not done that way. Landlords are here and there bothering people to pay rent. How do you pay when you are not earning? It's a simple question we need to ask ourselves. Why do we care? Why do we feel like we care so much about ourselves, but in a nutshell, we are so myopic to understand that we are being so wicked and mean to ourselves? What kind of a landlord would want to pressurize you right now for rent? Is it blind or is it dumb not to see what is happening in the world? Who does that? We should speak for ourselves. We should not be wicked to ourselves. This time, everybody needs to stay indoors. And when you need to stay indoors, you need to stay indoors with one understanding: that you have provision of your daily food, and then you have a roof and a shelter over your head. Confidently, without shaking. You ain't gonna see no motherfucker on the street. When we talk about us because we have money to feed, then what happens to the less privileged ones? What happens to those people who have to hop things on the road every morning just to make peanuts, just to put food on the table? When you stop them from not going out there to do that hustle, how do you expect them to feed? Why do we behave because I've got $1,000,000 in my bank account? I feel like $1,000,000 can keep me going for 6 months. I don't give a damn care about nobody else. We are all humans. We claim as if we are too many, but we lack the love of humanity. Don't get me wrong. Whatever the government is trying to do is to ensure that lives are being protected. But now there's only one question I want to ask. How do we protect life? People tell you, don't go out there. You might contract corona by the people you get yourself associated with, by the places you touch. They give us all rules and regulation protocols as to enable us not be a victim of this pandemic, this virus. It is okay. We really do appreciate that. All right. But now the question is this: you live in a public compound. You do not live in a compound owned by you. That you say the compound is being operated by you and your family alone. You live in a flat that has more than 30 flats. Now, everybody accesses that gate. Everybody accesses the lock. Is there any gate man standing there with a sanitizer saying that before you touch the gate, I have to open? And let's not forget, this is a metal, which the virus can stay in there for a longer period of time. Now, how many people are going to touch that part of the gate that will not contract this virus? How many people? A lot of people want to go out there just to buy something they would eat because they have nothing. A lot of people want to step out just because they just have to look for a solution for themselves. If you ask them, they will tell you the government cannot help us. We have to help ourselves. Not like people are just trying to be too stubborn. It's just that people cannot wait to die in their house out of starvation, which they can still as well die out of the virus. What is the difference? You don't want me to go out there to contract the virus so that I don't die or I don't spread the virus. But you want me to stay inside my house silently and die. Does that look like we have a solution or we have a bigger problem? A time will come, if this pandemic persists, if this lockdown persists, if it continues, you will see that tenants will get mad, physically mad with landlords, to the extent that when landlords comes to their door to ask for money, they might chase them with machete. A time will come when your tenant perceives the aroma of the food you are cooking in your house, and then he or she has not had anything to eat. Somebody is going to come out with a knife to stab you or give you a condition: give me food or I stab you, because I am good as dead. Where is the love? You cannot be teaching me on how to protect myself, and then you are not giving me the basic amenities to keep me in there as a basic sign of protecting myself. We need to love each other. This is a time that both the rich and the poor are equal. Because there will be a time, like we see in one of those zombie movies we used to watch, that there comes a time where everybody has to run away from the zombies. Do you know why? The zombies is like the COVID-19 we witness today. There will be malls, there will be Range Rovers, there will be cars everywhere. But people will not go out there to steal anything because it's baseless. But people will kill themselves for food. Because you need to live to fight the pandemic. Otherwise, they want us to die inside the house trying to fight a pandemic. When I tell my child, don't go out there, it is dangerous when you step out there. Trust me, I should be able to provide everything my child needs to prevent him or her from not going out there. It's a basic understanding we need to understand here. We need to get it right. Most people have to be on the street every day to get $20. Most people have to open their stores, and the only way they make sales is when they have a huge crowd inside their stores. These people can no longer open their businesses anymore, but all shut down. And then one landlord is at my door asking me for rent. Where the hell am I supposed to get the money from? Why don't you make me feel comfortable being in the house, and then you get mad seeing me being out there after everything you've provided for me to be comfortable being in the house? What is going on? We should be realistic. As much as the government is trying to support us, we should be able to support ourselves too as humans. If we ain't supporting ourselves as humans, whatever the government is doing, it's all in vain. We need to be reasonable. We should not act like people who are dumb-ass-headed people. We are smarter than this. You can't provide me pills to take without giving me food to eat to take the pills. Who does that? No, we really need to get serious. Because if we don't get serious, I am seeing a very huge saga coming forth in few months if everywhere tend to be on lockdown. Do not forget, the pandemic, the government can give a rule that everywhere is on lockdown, that there's a restriction of movement. I have food in my house. I have millions of shillings in my house. But the question is, does the other man even have a food to eat for one day? And if that other man don't have a food to eat, you will see his violence. For a hungry man is always paranoid. Hunger will make people cause chaos very soon if we do not bring out a platform that can make all of us understand that this is an enemy we are fighting against. We are fighting an enemy that do not know us. We are fighting an enemy that do not respect us. But I can respect you. You can respect me. You know me, I know you. But this enemy knows not anyone. What are we supposed to do? You and I were supposed to team up to fight this enemy that neither know you nor me. But why is it at the end of the day we are ending up fighting ourselves? I know you, you know me. And I'm fighting you, then the enemy is there. For a house divided by its own cannot stand. And when a house has been divided by its own, it is very easy for an enemy to penetrate and destroy. If we want to stay in the house, please let there be provision of basic amenities. Let there be an understanding between the landlord and his tenants. Because that is the only way no one will give you an excuse of being on the road. But not until then. We are yet to see the biggest saga coming forth. This is Green. Peace out.